What I wanted to do with this video is pretty much take it back to the beginning of how I started on Upwork. So I started back in 2023 and I was unemployed for about a year. I was working at a previous company, a staffing agency. That's my background, is helping people find jobs, connecting with clients, looking for employees, and pretty much doing matchmaking from employer and to people on the job market looking for a new opportunity. So, working with this company remotely based in San Jose, and things were going tough for the company. So, we decided to part ways. And then I was on unemployment for about a year. And I was thinking about, what should I do? What opportunities are there online or remotely that I can do to start a business? And I've used Upwork in the past when I used to own a previous marketing agency with another partner of mine in San Jose. I used to live there. And that agency was going good for about a year. And then COVID happened, literally on St. Patrick's Day, when COVID was starting to reach its peak scare for everyone. All of our clients at the time were like hospitality, restaurant, nightlife, and we did over 160 grand our first year, with minimal expenses, just me and my partner, doing paid advertising, social media marketing. But the problem was they were only for hospitality companies. So we didn't diversify enough to expect a hit like that. Well, really, no one was really expecting something as crazy as COVID, right? So um, I did have some experience in this before. I wasn't as good as I was, or I was better now than I was back then. I was still getting my feet wet with the whole marketing scene back then. I was doing marketing for another staffing company that I was working at that my family owns to this day. And pretty much uh yeah, moving forward, I wanted to take a crack at Upwork because I used it before COVID to hire freelancers, as a client. I was pretty much using it as a client, but I never thought to use it as an agency owner, as a lead generation source. So the thing about Upwork is, it's not really a place for people that don't have skills and are looking to make money on here. This is literally a place where you have to have at least some expertise in something. There's different levels to it. There's entry, intermediate, expert levels that you need to be in, but it's more of a liability if you don't have a skill set to bring to the table, because then, your first client that you might get, it might be a 1 star, 2 or 3 star client, which will absolutely destroy your job success score, which you don't want, right? So anything less than 90% is not good. In reality, it's not good on the platform because you're gonna start getting clients that are gonna penny pinch you. They'll tire kick your services, and it's not a good experience for anyone involved. So when I started on Upwork, um, 6 months prior to this, I had created a social media account based in San Jose. It was called San Jose Tweets. And pretty much what it was a community page about just everything going on in the city of San Jose and the whole San Francisco Bay Area. I was posting about, local nightlife, restaurants, businesses, events, things like that. It was just kind of a melting pot of a bunch of different topics. But I was able to grow that account to about 40,000 followers. And what I did was I pretty much based my experience of social media marketing with that account and used it against my Upwork page. So I didn't have any case studies. I didn't have any clients. I was literally starting from scratch here. So when I was sending proposals out to clients, I was telling them, "Hey, like I'm new to the Upwork platform, but here's some previous work that I've done to showcase that I know what I'm doing when it comes to this type of project need," right? Because it's like for my niche, social media marketing, it's it's something I always tell clients that if you're going to hire someone, make sure you hire someone that's done it for themselves too, right? That has something tangible to show, like, hey, I've grown this for myself. I can grow this for you too, right? So just the fact that you have some piece of leverage, no matter what it is, whether it's you do some graphic design work and you create some mock-up graphics that you can use in your portfolios, things like that. You can pull logos from current businesses that are in your town that have logos that look like they need an update, and then refresh those logos and put before and afters on your Upwork profile. It's just showcasing your work. They don't have to be actual things that you've been paid money to do. It's you're just giving visuals to clients that, hey, I can do this. So I created a few things for myself that helped me with getting my first client, and I'll go through all of that right now. So what I want to show you guys first is I made this pretty much an introduction kit, which helped me out. And you can see this is like kind of when I started it back in July of 2023. And this is something that I know back then, I was like, okay, I know a lot of different freelancers that are bidding for the same project as me probably aren't sending like introduction kits, or they're not sending something that's really tangible that they've done before. They're probably talking just uh, in the message area. They're like, hey, I can do this, this, and that for you, but nothing else to back it up, right? So pretty much went in, just made something quick. I made this in Canva. If you guys want this layout, by the way, just let me know in the comments. I'll put it in the description. You can download it and remake it yours however you want. But this is just what worked for me. And just a little bit about me, what I've done. Just quick 3 paragraphs of just my history about the pretty much my freelance agency, what we do, um, more about what we do, and then that's really it. This is just, it doesn't need to explain everything. It's just something extra that's tangible. If it's something, it just makes you look more professional to the client that you're sending a bid to. And then the second thing I built, which was for the profile that I had created on Instagram prior to joining Upwork, was a pretty much a pitch deck. So what I used with this is I showcased about the brand that I grew back then. This is when it was at 16,000 followers, and a little bit about the followers, content creation, how fast we're growing, what our audience does, since all the followers were based in that concentrated area. No matter what business I posted about, people would go to it. So it's very valuable type of platform that I built. It's pretty much an asset. And then a little bit more about the services. So brand identity, graphic design, lead generation, video production, and then a whole thing about stats, right? So this stuff is super important because now you're giving visuals to your statements that you're making, your proposals to your clients, which is important. You need to have a middle ground of connection, instead of just spitting out words through text. So something to look at like this is really nice, and it makes you look like you know what you're doing. So just like engagement stats of the profile that I built, um, making sure that the followers were local. These aren't botted followers. They're not paid. This is all just from, sweat equity work. And then I use a tool called Social Blade, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. And just to track the growth metrics back then that I was using this tool for, I would send this in this pitch deck as well. And then this is just something separate. People would pay for promotional spots on that page. Um, but yeah, just these two things is kind of all I needed to give me enough ammo to go and pretty much hunt down clients. So what I want to get into now is literally this is the first client I ever got on Upwork. The first one. And I did send, I can't remember, but it's probably between 30 to 50 proposals. I did spend like a couple $100 on connects just trying to figure it out. I think I didn't spend any more than like $200 or $150 on connects. Because like I said, I was on unemployment. I was only making like 450 every week. So that 200 bucks back then, that I was pretty much killing my whole income for that period, but it was okay. It was some good seed money in order to propel me off of that and get me to where I needed. So this is the first job. Um, Pretty much getting into it, this is my proposal here. And what I wanted to do, because I was living in San Jose, San Francisco prior to that, my asset that I built, that social media channel, it was based in, the San Francisco Bay Area. I was like, okay, let me see if I can find any social media marketing clients in the area. That way I can cross pollinate my followers with theirs because they're local, and it would make me look like I have that much more value to provide than any other freelancer that would apply to them, because I have a tangible asset that's organic that I can help boost their following and send traffic straight to them, right? So literally all I said was, "Hi, I'm a Bay Area native. I would love to provide value to your nonprofit trade organization with my skills and expertise in digital marketing strategies." And then I answered their three questions that they had. And the first one was, what makes you uniquely special and qualified for this project? And I responded with, I run the community page San Jose Tweets on Instagram. We have grown from 0 to over 23,000 followers in just 5 months. I know how social media platforms work, as well as how to grow a loyal follower base. I'm a go-getter, performance-based marketer, and I love a challenge. Now, the next question was, provide a brief outline of the approach you'd like to use for this project. Now, when clients say, what will you do in a question like this, or um, like what metrics you think you could bring to the table, sometimes it might be a trick question. What you want to do is give the most honest answer possible. And what I do is I say, hey, I don't know yet, but I would love to get on a call with you so I can figure out what the facts are, and that way I could send you a proper proposal with the details that I discover speaking with you, right? And that's exactly what I said here. If we look right here, right? I said, it's very preliminary to tell currently without first getting on a discovery call with you to fully understand your needs and goals for this project. After reading the job post a few times, I'm thinking we keep viewers engaged by providing massive value through educational content. So, like I said, tell them first, let's get on a call, but I think this might be the approach, just looking outside in. Now, this was a golden question for me because it says here, what is the best project example or sample of work product that best illustrates your talents? So I had that asset previously, right? So I said, please view my page, San Jose Tweets. We have grown a cult following and loyal fan base. I've included my marketing kit of analytics I can bring to the table. I work with city council members of San Jose to provide news and community updates to the city. And when can you start on the project? ASAP. And then we'll get into what the chat looked like, right? So pretty much how it went. They responded to me, I think it was the next day. Yeah, I think it was like the next day. They said, this is from the CEO of that company. Said, hey, Joseph, let's set up a Zoom meeting to discuss the project. Let's find some time next week, Tuesday. And I said, sure. So I scheduled time with them, spoke with them, and what I always do after I get off a call, if it's like a real serious client, I always say like, "Hey, I would like to send over a 30, 60, 90-day plan of what the first 90 days would look like working with me on this project." Even when you apply to jobs outside of Upwork, like if you were going to work at some office job or some tech company, whatever it is, always providing a 30, 60, 90-day plan of what you're like what you think you're going to go in there and do. That just makes you stand up or stand out that much further. So I always recommend doing that, and you can have something optimized like with ChatGPT to help you make it. It's very simple, and yeah, it looks great too when you're sending it over. And I didn't hear from them for a couple days after I spoke with them though. So this is where it's important to follow up, and the money's in the follow up. So it might not be the first time you speak with them, the second, but probably the third. But this time, luckily, it was the well, counting the message back and forth. This was the third time I spoke with them, right? So I sent a follow up like, hey, just want to reach out. If there's anything you would like me to see, I'm ready to assist. I'm fully available. That's what I'm saying right here. And I'm here to support. And then he gets back to me later that day. Hi, Joseph. Chris and I would like to get started on this date. We'd like to start with 30 hours each month, and we can reassess in a few weeks. So this was great. This was awesome. This was my first client. I was making 350 a week right off the bat with my first client that I still have to this day. And later on, as we got comfortable working with each other, I started providing really good value. I was doing exactly what I said I was going to do, kept my word to it. Um, yeah, it's for 7 hours a week. And then I followed up with them like midway through the year, a little bit over, and I was like, hey, I would really like to see if there's any way that we can increase my hours. Um, because I need more time to be able to fully deliver on these extra projects that we've discussed bringing on. Like whatever it was, like they had a campaign that they wanted to do, but they wanted me to take on more work. And this is where you got to be careful with clients is you don't want them to just scope creep you and just like keep throwing things in front of you. Just say, hey, do it, do it, do it. We're already paying you. Just keep doing this. Like you really want to have boundaries. So I said, I'll do this, but we need to increase by at least 3 hours, right? So this is what happened like in January. So almost, I think that's 8 months. I don't know, a couple months after, um, they increased the limit for me. So now I was making 500 bucks a week. So that's my first client out the gate making 2 grand a month. And what happened was my hypothesis is since Upwork saw that I'm bringing in recurring revenue for them as well, because every time they run their credit card, Upwork gets a piece from the client's end, and then they get a piece on my end, like whatever the fee is from this project. So then they start sending you more leads like, hey, this guy, this freelancer is bringing in reliable clients. He's making us money. I think when you make Upwork money, they'll make you more money because they want you to succeed at that point, right? So that's how we got into um, that's how I got into my first job on Upwork, and I can show you guys right here. I still have them as a client, and this is what I've billed them so far. So the first client I ever got was it's worth almost $55,000 so far, right? So that's a pretty good deal. That's pretty good. And then that client helped me get every single one of these other clients that I have here. So it's always the beginning of when you're starting your profile that it's really hard. But once you get that one client is all you need to change the total dynamic of how you're going to operate your business on Upwork. So, and everything's in play here. The way you have uh, your profile bios laid out, making sure that you have a video here to showcase who you are, your services that you offer, what you do, and making sure you have like whatever educative facts that you have on here. Um, Making sure your skills are set up properly for whatever your niche is. What I found, like whenever I've had a slow week or a few weeks with like no invites or no activity or stuff like that, I always change out the skills and I always change out the verbiage in my profile. And then literally I start getting more invites, like literally within that same evening or the next day. And I always have my profile boosted, just why not? Just because I rank pretty highly for social media marketing and Instagram marketing services and stuff like that. So I don't really need to go out and bid for projects as much. Um, Upwork's just one avenue. I also just get clients from outside of Upwork too, which will be a whole nother video how I do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it here when it comes. Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about too. I wanted to make a separate video about this, but since we're in it, um, having all your projects filled out is super important because you can use these as a lead generation tool. Just think of these as like advertisement spaces. You get 20 slots to create projects. But in reality, what these are is, in my eyes, are advertisement spaces. So when people see your projects, when they're looking for either a service or they're looking for a freelancer, um, obviously you'll pop up here. And if they click on your project on the client side, there's an option for them to send you a message for like a custom project. And that's how you get like a lot of good direct messages and stuff like that. That way you can fully customize a project with the client, and you're getting more traffic to your page too, just because you have a whole bunch of different avenues set up. So I'll make a separate video about that. I think I might have already made one, but I'll make a completely separate video for that. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I mean, there's not really much to it. It's very straightforward. I know it gets frustrating for a lot of people, um, getting their first client or trying to consistently get clients, but really it just comes down to what offer you have. I mean, you guys can search me up on Upwork and look at my profile and go over it in detail, but I'll make a separate video as well on this. There's too many things here that I don't want to keep putting in this video, but um, I hope you guys find some inspiration with not giving up. I mean, there's nothing special about me or what I do. I mean, a lot of other people do what I do, but you got to remember is people buy from people, and if you're genuine, you're authentic, you really do want to help, um, clients will come. It's just putting that good energy out there, and just making sure that you have some value that you can provide. Like the only thing that I had that of value was that Instagram page, and if I didn't make that Instagram page, I probably wouldn't be on Upwork right now. So this is where it comes to a point of just create something valuable first, create a system, a process, something tangible that you can show to people like, hey, everyone needs to see this, and the rest will follow, So any questions you guys have, let me know in the comments. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys soon.